Hanzo, Bladez was good.
What's good? Peace, man. My bad, technical difficulties over here. I was trying to use my other. I was trying to use my. Hello. Yeah, I was trying to use my other. Yeah, I was trying to use my other laptop. It wasn't working out, so I was like, I'll try to use my Mac, and that wasn't working.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me just use the phone. Worst case
scenario.
All
right, cool. Yeah, because I'm on my Mac now with whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you know what's crazy? I don't know why I mistake you for being one of them overseas beat makers.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it can happen, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's crazy.
I was born and raised in Brooklyn, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Brooklyn. I see you on your bio. It says Albany as well, right? Is that what you located?
That's where I live right now. So I'm like basically Schenectady, but it's all Schenectady County is like I'm like borderline Albany, Schenectady, and I've been up here for like the last 15, 16 years. So
yeah, that's what's up. And you know,
I rap 518. What's up?
Okay, cool. And you know what? Another thing I didn't know you spit. I always knew you from beats.
Yeah, so here's the deal. So I'm a MC, like, first and foremost. Like, that's how I started with hip hop. That's how I kind of like got introduced. So I mean, really the hip hop was just like more or less like really just being around older cats that was doing it at the time. And I'm talking about, I don't want to give my age away too much, but yeah, I'm talking about like early 80s, you know what I mean? Like, Kumo D days and
wow. Yeah. You giving your age.
Like those days, when Adventures of Slick Rick came out, like, they're like that's so I've been really a fan and just, really just living the culture since then. I didn't really start doing it professionally, man, because life, just life and being a kid and just having fun and just being out there. I wasn't really thinking about hip hop like on a professional level. I was more on a fan level. And then I really got into it, just freestyling and stuff like that, having cyphers with people's and beat. But then I got to the beatboxing and all that, just having fun with it. And then
right.
And then professionionally, yeah, I tried a little professional stint back in the days with a group that just friends. We got together and just figured let's record. We had a little Tascam joint, little 4-track. We had a little 4-track Tascam recorder. Choppy microphone, put a sock over it, whatever.
Yeah, no doubt.
No doubt. And we tried that out too well. That it didn't last too long. So then after that, I just really kind of put the pen down for a little bit and then just start really focusing on production side of things, just so that I could because I was kind of getting tired of the type of beats, man. I don't really spit over trap beats and stuff like that, and I don't want to, so I'm like, let me try to tap into the production side of it, and that's kind of how I got into it, man. And yeah, ever since then, this is what it's been. I just kind of just been elevating it and just trying to get teaching myself, because I ain't go to college for this or nothing like that. I just been like everybody else, probably YouTube videos and just learning it on your own and just kind of figuring out your own process and your own workflow.
Right. So which one would you say you better at, the MCing or the beat making?
I mean, that's a tough question to answer for me. I mean, for me personally, I'm gonna say MCing just because that's where my heart is at. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm an MC first and foremost, and that's what got me into this.
Right.
I study like rhyme schemes and technicality of rhyming. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my thing. Multis and all that. I'm not about the basic rhyme stuff. So like I've really spent a lot of time studying that, and just studying MCs and studying the craft of rhyming and writing. And then the production, like I said, the production really is just because it's one of the same. It's like basketball, man. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of some players become coaches. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's the same thing. I mean, I figured let me see what's behind the boards and figure that out. And it became a passion. It definitely became a passion. But like I said, it was a little tough because at the time that I started doing it, it was just like there was some underground, you had to look for it. But it was like, man, everything was just all like, bubble music, man, trap style and drill and all that stuff. And it's just, and not to take nothing away from it, the sound is the sound. People fuck with it. I don't, but it's to each his own, man. I respect everybody's, taste in music.
Oh, speaking of which, not to get off subject, how's the tooth?
So man, so I had two joints. I had two wisdom teeth taken out, man.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, and it was painful for the first like week, and then my face was like crazy, you know what I'm saying, and then just I mean I still feel it, you know what I'm saying, like I still
right,
it still feels weird, and I'm scared to still chew on that side, you know what I'm saying,
right,
like
right, right, right,
but
right.
other than that, man, I'm in good spirits. I'm fine. I'm obviously I'm dealing with, my wife, she's ill right now, so I'm kind of dealing with that. I'm tending to the wife and the fam, doing the family thing, But other than that, man, I can't really complain, man. Life is good.
Okay, so you're an MC slash beat maker, right? So let me
Yeah.
so let me ask you a question. In your opinion, who makes the better beats, the MC slash beat maker or the DJ slash beat maker? In your opinion,
I'm gonna say the MC slash beat maker because they kind of they grow with that ear for the set, like they just grow for the, I mean, let me put it to you like this. I'm sure, Kanye West is a great example, right? You know what
right,
I'm saying? Like he you know, I mean, people will say he probably started as a producer, and maybe professionally he did, but
right,
if you just watch the documentary, man, like he was a writer. You know what I'm saying? Like he was always, since he was a kid, was a poet. So I
right,
think, you kind of just have that ear for the music, man, when you're into the arts and you're just a creative person in general with music, especially writing, and I think that once you have that rhythm and you just and you have it, and then and then you grow up with music, and I mean, in my household we had all kinds of music from Spanish to soul music, and I grew up with a lot of Michael Jackson and stuff like that, so we had a lot of that. So it's just all of it just grows on you, man, and as long as you got an ear for it, anybody could be a producer, man. Anybody. It's not a magic gift. It's not like I mean, I'll tell you right now, definitely there's levels to it.
yeah,
Will I say that I'm at a high level, man? I'm gonna be humble and say nah. I know there's a lot to learn, and honestly, my workflow, I've develop my workflow whereas because I'm all about time, you know what I'm
right,
saying? So I don't like to spend too much time trying to make a beat, because if I'm trying to make a song, boom, I just make a quick dope beat that I feel that I could write to, and then it just comes out to what it comes out to be.
right,
A
right,
lot of the magic really is done on the engineering side, believe it or not, man. The engineers really, they're like the wizards, you know what I'm saying, of the creativity process when it comes to the quality of the production and all of that, with the drops, the breakdowns, and all that. Yeah, the producers and the engineers, bro, they're like one and the same.
right, right, right. So when you first started making beats, what was your weapon of choice?
So my first man, my first. So I'm an IT guy, believe it or not, man. I do a lot of that's I went to school for that and all that, and that's my regular work field. Is IT. So I was always a software guy, and the first thing that I really started playing around with was Fruity Loops.
Mm,
Um, and then my boys was always like harping on me, like, "Yo, man, get into the hardware, MPC." And I've always known about MPCs. I've always been around them. My boy, he had an MPC 500 back in the day. So I was always around him, and I figured at some point I was gonna definitely invest in it, which I did. But I started with software, so like I started with Fruity Loops, and then I moved on from Fruity Loops to Reason,
mhm,
and I messed with that a little bit. And I'm like, yo, I'm gonna really try to pad things out and really chop,
mhm,
the way I want to do it, like like kind of like nostalgia, that old school feel. So
mhm.
I got the MPC 500, and that was my first thing. And I just got that because that was portable, really, to be honest with you, because I was gonna get the Renaissance, but I'm like, I need something portable, you know what I mean? I'm always mobile.
Yeah.
So
You
I'm
know
like,
what's
yeah, let
pretty
me get something.
dope?
Got the
That
MPC. So that
MPC,
was like the first piece of hardware.
yeah,
Was the
that
MPC.
MPC 2 is dope. That you see, have you seen that MPC 2? It's like it's a box and it's hardware, but it has speakers, it's standalone, you need have to plug it in.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, have you seen that before?
Which one?
The MPC2. Can you speak up a little bit? Because you're sounding low.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, no, the MPC2. Yeah, I seen that. I seen the MPC2. So right now I got an MPC live.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's called the live. One of them is one of them live 1 or 2.
Well, yeah, it's the live 2. MPC
right,
live
the
2.
2,
It's the
right.
one with the built-in speaker on it. Yeah.
Yeah. With
so
the
I ended up I ended up being a little thirsty, and I ended up I didn't know they were gonna come out with a version with the speaker, but I think that it's cool. You know, they both do the same, and I got pretty good speakers. I got some Rocket speakers, so I'm fine with the speakers. But I got the MPC live. I ended up getting that just because you know, the MPC 500. Obviously, you can't do much with it. You know, the RAM wise and just not much you could really do. So I'm like, I had to upgrade, and I ended up getting the MPC live. But I'll be honest with you, man. I really I use it, but I don't. You know, like majority of my beats is all software based. So like right now I'm using like I'll use the MPC software, you know what I'm saying? And I'll chop on the MPC, and then I'll just, I'll layer everything out in the software, because for me, click and drag is just a lot easier for me. That workflow is just a lot easier for me. So, and I do that, and then sometimes I even use like Music Studio and Acid Pro, whatever. Like I use whatever software that I can, I'm pretty fluent in most of the software.
Right. Yeah, because software allows you to do things quicker. Is that what it is? Saves a lot of time?
I mean, it depends. I mean, I've seen people, really make beats in like 15 minutes on the MPC. My boy, he's nice with the MP. And then also the other producer by Click, Groundwave, Enels, he be banging stuff out as well on the MP. So some cats are really nice with it. But again, my workflow, and it's just more of a preference thing. I'm more comfortable, with the mouse in my hand, and you know what I'm saying. But I also, like I said, I've been really getting involved with the MPC just because I know, the nostalgia purposes, and I just, I really want to master it. You know what I mean? Like I grew up, Just Blaze, and obviously Kanye, watching him doing his thing on that, and then A-Rap Music, one of the illest MPC, drummers. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. I felt like it's just as a producer, if you want to really take production kind of serious, man, and just be on the next level with the sounds, that's just that's where it's at.
Right. Because I know when you bang on the pads, it feels like you're really a part of the beat. When
I mean, you create your own rhythm.
Right.
At the end of the day, you kind of create your own rhythm. Even though it's tempo based, you know what I'm saying. But if you tap tempo and everything, you kind of create your own rhythm. It's, and I mean, for the most part, like I said before, it's really it's all about ear, and if you really have a good ear for just how sound placement works, man, you're people are gonna like it regardless. I mean, as long as you like it, you good. That's what I'm saying. Like, I make stuff for me, man. So as long as I like it, I'm happy with it. Then it's good, and I give it to the people, and if they like it, they like it. If not, it's all good. I'll keep it moving. I'll make something, else.
Right. And you say it's all about your ear, and that's true, because like we're sampling, we're not really playing instruments, so our ear is really our talent. What sounds good and how we can manipulate the sounds. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
because I mean, you gotta be able to, like you listen to a old record, that you might want to sample something, and you listen to the whole thing, and then obviously, you gotta tune in to really find that one part that you can just, you feel like you can flip that crazy, and it's like you might not catch it. Sometimes you gotta listen to a record 2 or 3 times, you know what I mean? So you might not catch it. And it happens all the time with me, man. I'll be watching movies, and I just be like, oh, it happened to me not that long ago. I was watching the Creep Show, and I was like, yo, there was a part of it. I was like, yo, I paused. I'm like, I gotta sample this, man. So like, I found it. I found the MP3, and I just, I sampled it, and it's like, just that's really what the hip hop is all about, man. You know what I mean? Like, just, just taking something and just, recreating it is, and making it kind of your own.
Right.
And even if you recreate something that's been done, like recently, I made a joint with my boy Frank White, and
I heard, serious.
Boy, he's a problem, man. And and what's dope is that he's really his work ethic is crazy, man. He's nonstop with it. He's always asking me nonstop for beats, man. It's just like I can't keep up with him. But but we worked on a joint, you know, King of New York joint, and then that beat really, you know, you know, it's a Quincy Jones, you know, original track, but it was sampled by Mary J. Blige, you know, and it was sampled by Intelligent Hoodlum, you know, for the Grand Groove joint.
Right.
So like, I you know, and there's not really much you really could do to certain samples. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you really can't, like, you know, there's not, like, if it's such a beautiful sample, you know, it's a, you know, beautiful clip of a sample that you want to take, there's not really too much you want to do to it. So yeah, man, like I just really focus more on like just the background, like just the ad, you know, just kind of I just accessoried it up, you know what I mean? I added accessories to the sample and I just I just flared it up a little bit more and just added a more, you know, boom bapish kind of drum, you know what I'm saying, kick to it. But you know, it's still, if you listen to it, it kind of, it will, if you know, if you listen, if you know the Mary J.G.A.Z joint and you know the Intelligent Hoodlum joint, you know, you know, right away, you'll get the sample, you know, and especially if you know Quincy Jones, you know, you'll be like, oh, I've heard that sample many times. But, you know, at the same time, you know, a lot of people do that. It's just really, for me, it's kind of like, it was more of a sentimental thing, you know, like I grew up listening to, like, you know, to that Intelligent Hoodlum joint. Like that was one of my favorite joints when I was young.
Right.
So
Right.
I felt like I had to do something with that sample.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
it came out dope. It came out dope. We made it our own. I feel
Right.
like, you know.
So how do you know when to just loop a sample and when to chop up a sample? How do you know when it's like, nah, just take it as
Man,
is?
I'll be honest, it's like that part I feel like is a little magical because that's a little bit like, you know, I don't think there's no school that could really teach you that kind of shit. Like, you know, I mean, I'm just being honest. I think that you know, yeah, it could teach you the science and you know and all that, and I, you know, I don't know all of that stuff, man. Like, I don't know none of the, you know, like I be even getting confused with bit rates and all that. Like, to be honest
Right.
with you, so you know what I mean. Like, I'm just really, like I said, I'm strictly by ear. So for me, when I listen to a record again, like, I'm just really trying to just find that, and then I'll play around with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll put the, you know, with my mouse, and I'll just pause it and I'll pitch it. You know what I'm saying, on my thing, and then I'll just play around with it. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I can do something with this.
Right.
And then
Right.
I'll take, what I'll do is I'll immediately take that, and then I go back to the record and listen for more. You know, you just don't know how much you can get out of one single record. So I mean, there's times where I've made like 2 or 3 beats out of one record. You know what I'm saying? So I'll just continue listening to the whole record until I can find as many things that I can sample, and then I'll just make production. I'll just, you know,
Right.
flip
Right.
them,
Right.
however, you know, and
And
go from there.
you keep talking about your ear. So what I gather from you is you're more of a feeling producer, not really technical on bit rates,
Yeah,
but you go by what feels good. It doesn't have to be
yeah.
it doesn't have to be technically or politically correct as long as it sounds good and you feel it.
I'm exactly, like, so a lot I know, and you know, and that's the thing, you know, and this is why I stay humble with the production and I try not to toot my own horn with it, because I'm not, you know, I know there's producers out there that put extreme effort. And I mean, I'm not saying that I don't, you know, but I mean, my process is like, you know, I'll sit down and I can find something quick and I'll just make a beat in like 15 minutes, you know, and but then somebody else, you know, that's on a high level, they make some joint, you know, it's crazy. Or they won't, or you know, but I've also seen where cats will spend mad time and they'll have like $50,000 worth of equipment and the beat sound trash, you know. So it's
Right.
like, it really, again, like that's why I always say it's about the ear, man, because it boils down to really, well, one, also your taste in music too, you know what I mean? Like, you got to know what you're looking for, so that's very important. You know, so like if if you grew up listening to like soul music, and you know what to dig for, man, and it makes it a lot easier, you know. And but at the same time too, it's also dope when you get, you know, like I've been looking at a lot of like Brazilian like jazz, you know, music and like things like that, like just listening to like really weird kind of stuff, and like, you know, a lot of Asian, because and I'm big on the Asian culture, so like I definitely dig for a lot of Asian records, and you know, and
And
that's,
that was my next question. You know, with we're talking about sampling and all that. And I was wondering, are you a crate digger or are you digging online? Or are you doing both?
so I do both, man.
Mhm.
So I originally started with obviously online, man. I'm not rich. I can't afford crate digging
Right.
like that, man. I wish I could. You know, it's a great hobby to have, but you know, with a lot of things going on, I can't. Unfortunately right now, I started those. So like I got a little collection, and I started, you know, collecting records. So I'm definitely on my way with that, you know, and but I feel like that's really where,
Mhm.
you know, you get that crispiness of the sample, man. You know, that
Right,
just
right.
you get that natural vinyl pop, you know, and it just, you know, it just comes out a lot better, you know, when you sample it from a record. But I think too, like I said, man, if you really, you know, if you chop it up, even if an MP3, you chop it up, or if you get a sample from a pack or whatever. And I do a lot, and I get a lot of sample from packs, you know.
Mhm.
So, you know, Alpha Centauri and stuff like that, and I get a lot of, you know, packs, and I use a lot of samples from packs. But all that matters is that you know you chop it up, you know, where you know you pitch it, or you tweak it however you want to, you know what I'm saying, you know,
Mhm.
and you just chop it up and just make it your own.
Right, right, right. So you say you do a little both, you dig in online or whatever, and you also dig
Yeah.
in the crates. So is there a lot of record stores out there around your way, or are you digging in like garage
There's
sales?
a there's a couple of record stores out here.
Mhm.
There's a lot of like record swaps, like, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
like they call them like record riots, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's like, you know, they're just kind of like record yard sales, and they'll just have, like, you know, people will go there with their crates and just, you know, and sell them, you know, at whatever price point they feel. And there's all, you know, and the cool thing about that is, like, you know, you can negotiate, you know what I'm saying? So it's like you could bundle things up, you know, and you know, people see money. It's like, all right, you know, this is one of those kind of things, like a swap meet, you know. So it's like that. There's a couple of those up here. Um, and this thing keeps going out on me. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So there's that. There's, yeah, I mean, there's quite a few records. I mean, you know, Salvation Army too, man. You get
Right.
records from there. You know, and the last few records that I got from actually award ceremony, you know what I'm saying? And there was they had a little like a vendor event, you know, and
Mhm.
the vendors were there, you know, and there was one vendor who was selling records. So, you know, a lot of times it just, you know, I just bump into stuff like that, which is cool, and you know, I get lucky sometimes.
So what's the most you'll spend on a record? Because I'm a dollar crate digger.
I'm a dollar crate digger too, but I think at that, yeah, I think the most I spent was like 55.
On one record. It was an album, I hope.
Yeah, it was an album. Yeah,
Oh,
it was
okay.
an
I'm about
album.
to say a
Yeah.
single. Ooh.
No, I wouldn't spend 55 on a single. That's crazy. I mean,
Wow, wow.
unless it was like a rare, you know, must have vinyl or something like that. And obviously, I would have to probably hear the record. Like where I copped these, I you know, they didn't have a record player, so I couldn't even hear the records. But it was,
Right.
you know, a lot of the time when I'm digging, I ain't gonna front. I base it on the cover. You know what I mean? Like,
Ah, yes.
one
Yeah,
thing I've always learned, you know,
yeah.
I forgot who told me, but somebody was like, "Yo, man, if you see naked ladies on the cover, that's it. It's
Wow.
done."
Or someone
Somebody
with an
with an afro.
afro. You know what I mean?
Or
Yeah.
so yeah, someone with an afro,
With an
or
afro.
just, you
Right,
know,
right,
or
right,
somebody
right,
just
right.
with the chill pose,
Hmm.
you know, or somebody with a fly car in the background or
Right.
something, like, you know.
Right, right.
So
So
yeah,
so you don't bring a portable record player with you when you go out digging?
nah, nah, nah.
Right.
I don't do that.
Yeah,
I don't have a portable.
right.
Unfortunately, I don't have a portable record player.
Which is
I got
good because I find that when you're digging in the crates and you take it home, it's a surprise. You never know what you're gonna find, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I
so
mean, definitely. I mean, those are like kind of sort of producers. That's like the producer that just is just like Jay Dilla producer type. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like,
right.
you know, I want to say that you know, I've been definitely
Mhm.
getting more into that. You know, because I've been developing a real deep love for production.
Right.
In the past couple of years. You know, I'm fairly new to this. You know, even
Mhm.
though I'm an old head, I'm fairly new to the whole production. Like I said, I started doing the production a while ago, but you know, the process has changed, and now I
Mhm.
really just focus on boom bap. Like, it was a point where I even delved into doing trap, just because I'm like, I want to learn how to do it. You know, I'm just
Right.
like, do I listen to it? Nah, it's not a preference, but I just wanted to learn how to do it. And you know, Fruity Loops was real
Mhm.
easy. Um, but you know, my love is boom bap, so I'm like, man, this is all I want to do, and that's really what I got into. And then last couple of years, that's really all I've been doing.
Right, right, true indeed. So when it comes to making beats, are you starting with drums or are you starting with the sample first?
I mostly start with the sample first.
Hmm.
You know, my process is like I just, you know, I'll start digging, and that takes me some time. You know, just because I don't just dig for like one sample, and then just start working on it right away. Like I'll dig for like, you know, 20 to 30 samples, and then I give myself options to decide on what I want to like, what vibe I'm looking for. For me, it's a mood thing. You know, it's really a mood. So like, you know, if I'm like, you know, if I'm something's, you know, stressing me or something like that, man, like you're gonna probably get like a really, you know, deep
Hmm.
kind of like, you know, more synthy kind of like, you know, vibe, you know, something conscious, you know, vibes. And but you know, if I'm hype or if I'm anxious or if I'm angry, you're gonna probably get something really grimy, some really grimy kind of boom bap shit, you know. So for me, you know, the production, that's what I've noticed so far is like it's just a bit of mood thing for me,
Right.
because I've had people be like asking me like, yo, can you make this kind of beat for me? And I'm like, I'll try, you know what I'm saying? And then when I start doing it, I'm like, nah, it's not working because that's not the
Yeah.
mood filler, you know what I'm saying? So I have to, you know, just give it some time, but like, you know, just I'll let the homie know, like, yo, give me a little bit of time, and you know what I'm saying? Once it come to me, I got you. And so that's been my process, man. I just been like, it's just been a
So
mood.
so check this
Everything
out.
is anatomy wise, mood and you know, and ears, you know that.
So you can be in, let's say, a stressed out mood though, right? But if you go digging, right, and you have a blank slate in your head, you don't know, you going in, you don't know what you're looking for, right? For the most part, you're just going by the cover, right? The cover looks ill. You're grabbing these, ooh, ill, oh, ill, that look ill. You looking, turn it back. Do you ever look at the year too?
So, oh yeah, yeah. I definitely. I mean, I'm one to like read the credits and all that. So like, I'll look at the back cover and I'll be staring at it for a minute. You know,
Hmm.
that's why I can't go digging too much because it takes time. You know what I'm
Yeah, it
saying? So
does.
like, you know, and
Yeah.
yeah, for me, I'm not one of those dudes, but you know, I just go to the store and just look in and out. I'll be there for hours. So like, I can't do it too much. You know,
Right.
but
See,
when I do, yeah, when I do it, that's usually how it is. And I'll be staring at a record for like 10, 15 minutes,
right.
just looking weird, just staring at one record. You know what I'm saying? And then
Wow.
you know, but yeah, usually I'll know after like a couple of minutes, I'll know like it's a record I'm gonna
Right.
keep. You know what I'm saying? But I
Mhm.
just want to like, usually I get so into it that I'll just read the whole thing. But so I
Right.
mean, I think my oldest record is from 19, I'm gonna say 1963, and I don't know what the name of the record is. I got off the top, I would have to dig for it. But yeah, it's like I think it's
Right.
1963 or 1964. It's in the night. It's 1960s.
Right.
Nice, you know,
Now,
that's like the record I got.
has there ever been a time? So back to the example, right? You're digging, you're looking at the cover, you're looking at the cover. Now, mind you, you have a blank slate. But you already say you're in a stressed out mood. So you don't know what's on these records. So you're digging and you find an ill sample that's the opposite of your mood. But the sample is dope. Do you just put it aside and don't deal with it, or do you hook that up?
Yeah, that's why I do that. That's why I decide to take, you know, I'll take a bunch of samples and I'll just pile them up just because there'll be times I'll if I'm digging and if I'm not in the mood to work on that, but I hear something like, oh, this is crazy. Like
Mhm.
I definitely do gotta do something with this, but right now I don't really want to do, like, you know, it's just like I don't want to. I mean, there'll be times where I'm almost forcing myself to work on certain things just because I know I gotta get stuff done. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like right now it's almost like a job for me, man, because we know, me and my team, we got so much stuff going on. You know, I mean, shit, we got a show coming up in a couple of weeks, so I'm like, set's 30 minutes. I gotta remember like 8 verses. You know what I'm saying? On top of that, we got another show coming up in August. We're opening for Ghost. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's gonna be heavy. So I mean, you know, got those things, and then the LPs that we all working on.
Right.
And then not only that, you know, I work with a lot of producers too. So like being an MC, that's what's really dope about being an MC and a producer, because I'm not just kind of like stuck in a box, kind of just working with just MCs. I work with producers and MCs, and you know, I also do
Mhm.
graphic design too. So like I do
Right.
cover
Right.
art. You know, I build websites, I do all of that, man. So like I stay. That's why it's hard for me to just be a producer, because if I was to just be a producer, then that's all I could do. You know, because you know, I don't, I don't want to put myself in a box where I have to master just one thing. I like to master a lot of things, you know, or at least not master, but you know a little bit, you know, about everything. You know.
Now, do you find that it's hard for you to accept beats from other beat makers because you make beats when you're rhyming and all that? It's like,
No,
you know, will you
I'm
let the
very.
beat maker do his thing or what?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, many times there's been beats where I'm like, oh man, I'm not feeling this 100%, but I'll back to it just because, you know what I'm saying. Like it's an MC thing, it's a challenge, you know what I'm saying. So I
Right.
love the challenge, you know. And it's not that the beats are whack. It's just like,
Mhm.
you know, sometimes you know it's like it's if it's not like your lane or your steez or whatever, you know what I mean. Like if it doesn't fit your steez, it's like, all right, so now you kind of like kind of really, you know, it's a challenge. You got get outside, you think outside the box, and you kind of get creative with it, and you know, and I like that. You know, I do that a lot.
Right.
But I mean, I've had I mean, like I said, I work with a lot of producers, man. So like, you know, I work with Johnny Slash, Stu Bangers, and you know, both out of Germany.
Yes.
You know, Pretty Ugly out of Canada. You know, I'm working on a joint with him right now. You know, like, and I gotta, you know, hit him with a verse, and and you know, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, I don't, I don't. There's no ego for me with this, man, at
Right.
all. I love this shit too much to really be on some ego shit. You know, it's like, um, you know, hip hop is a community. It started as a community, so you know,
Absolutely.
that's really what it's about, man. It's a community thing, and I think that that's what helps us grow. You know what I mean? And that's how
So
we learn.
what are you more comfortable with, rhyming over your own production or outside production?
Honestly, and that's a good question. I'm more comfortable rhyming outside my production,
Mhm.
only because I don't, you know, when I first started producing, I was making joints for me, you know, like I was making joints just so that, you know. But then as I started networking with other dope producers, man, I'm just like, you know, being that I'm an MC first, I get hyped when I hear a really dope beat, and like, you know, so it's like, man, you know, I know I make dope beats, but yo, there's a mad producers that make dope beats too. Like, you know, there's so many dope producers, man. So I'm very open to that, you know, and but I definitely prefer to kind of spit over somebody else's beat, you know, just because you know, it's like I said, it's a little bit more of a challenge because I don't know what to expect. You know what I'm saying? Until I get it. And then when I get it, I'm like, okay, all right. See, when I'm making a beat, I already know, you know, what to expect because I'm making it. So it's like,
Right, right,
you
right,
know,
right,
but I
right.
mean, there's joints that I've made that I, you know, like my, you know, one of my favorite joints I've made, that's off the Legends Die album is the Virtual Promise, you know, and I produced that, and I was like, man, that beat is incredible. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm a fan of my stuff too. You know, but you know, there's a lot of production too that I'm like, I could have did better. You know,
Mhm.
but you know, there's times where you find that gem. You know, and you find that gem, and then you flip it right, and it just sounds really good. You know, and
Right, right,
yeah,
right.
I've been getting in my bag lately, so definitely,
That's
I
what's
feel
up.
like
That's
I've been
what's up.
getting in my bag.
So when it comes to drums, right? Are your drums coming off vinyl? Where are they coming from? Packs, vinyl? Where you finding the drums
it's, a,
from?
it's a mix.
Mhm,
I haven't really chopped any drums off vinyl yet. I definitely
mhm,
as I listen to some, I'm like, yeah, I think I have to, you know, because
mhm,
some of the jokes are crazy. Um, but you know, I mostly use kits, you know what I'm saying? So kits and pack, you know, the from packs and whatnot. You know, sometimes I'll use loops, you know what I'm saying? Like if but you know, if I ever use a drum loop, man, I really kind of chop that drum loop up. I don't really I try not to use a full drum loop just because that's somebody else's shit. But you know, I mean, um, a lot of the times it's the same shit, you know, it's the same kits. A lot of us use a lot of the same kits, you know, so
mhm.
it's um a lot. That's why a lot of the drums be sounding the same. Um,
So
but
do you so all right, so you say you try not to use a drum loop. And when you say you chop it, so are you separating each individual sound and then playing your own pattern?
yeah, so I do that sometimes, but I do a lot of the drum. I do a lot of drum loops too. So I mix it up. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm,
really, again, it's like, you know, if let me say it like this. So if I'm using an MPC,
Mhm.
I'm using a kit. If I'm using the software, you know what I'm saying, I'll use the drum loop, but I'm chopping the drum loop up within the software. You know what I'm saying? So like I'll take parts of the drum loop, you know what I'm saying? I won't, you know, and I'll break that up, and then there's even times where I'll use multiple drum loops. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll
Okay.
take, you know, I'll chop up like you know, a kick, you know, the kick, and then, you know, if I like the snare from another loop, I'll take that, you know what I'm saying,
And play out your own pattern.
and just yeah, and just well put it together, yeah, pretty much,
Okay.
yeah, layer it
Right.
together, because it's a little different with software. You kind of just layer it, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right. Right.
In the essence, it's the same wave, you know. If
Mhm.
you know, if you're using an MP, you pad it out.
Right. So when you're finger drumming, how do you keep your drums from sounding the same instead of that boom boom ka, boom boom ka? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because I know me, I'm not a drummer, so after a while, that finger drumming can get boring. Whereas when you take
Yeah.
a loop and it's just sort of it's rocking and it's funky, you know?
I mean, for me, you know, as I started doing it, you know, recently, I think it's more of you kind of just really, you just as you going, you kind of develop, you know, like your own shit, and then you realize like, yeah, a lot of times you could start with that basic shit, that boom boom, boom, that's basic, but then, you know, once you start adding on top of that, you start layering it, and then you
Mhm.
kind of switch it, and then, you know, you can you know, there's the you know, there's functions on the MP where you can, you know what I'm saying, I don't know what they call, but you know, this you know, you can make it like you could change the tempo up of the drum loop, or the,
Right.
you know, or the, you know, whatever you know, whatever drum kit you're using, you could change the tempo up on it, so it's just, you know, you could tweak it however you want. But a lot of the times, man, for me, I just, you know, I focus mostly on the tempo of it, you know what I'm saying? So when I'm, you know, I line everything up
Mhm.
according to the drum loop, so my samples are lined up according to the loop.
Right.
It's more like it's more of a timing thing. It's weird. It's kind of hard to explain because it's more of a visual thing, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? But like, I really just line everything up, and it just kind of comes out.
Got you.
You know,
Got you.
you know, when you're hearing it, it sounds good. So that's when I'm just like, all right. But there's times where I've made some drum loops where they sound a little off, and they
Mhm.
still sound good, and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna just leave it. You know, I'm not
Right.
really gonna change
Right.
it.
So do you quantize?
I do. I quantize um sometimes.
Mhm.
It depends. I don't quantize all the time, only because certain samples just want to keep that. You know, I like to keep that just that grittiness of it. I don't like my shit too polished sometimes. So like,
Right.
you know, quantizing, you know, that kind of elevates the sounds, and it just kind of just gives it more of a synthier kind of feel.
Mhm.
So I do it with certain beats, like the King of New York joint. Like most of the stuff I work with Frank, I've quantized just because, you know what I'm saying, like his voice is just mad commanding. So it's like, all right, you gotta have some crispy sound and stuff for him. Um, but yeah, you know, it depends. I mix it up.
Okay. So you know when to quantize, when not to? I mean, is it all according to the sample?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, like I said, it's just, you know, when I listened to the sample and I chopped it up and I made, you know,
Mhm.
I kind of, once I made the beat, that's when I figure like, all right, you know what, man, I
Right.
like the grittiness. I'm not even going to even, you know, I normally I would say that most of the I'm
Mhm.
more than 90%. I like almost always quantize my drums. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
the samples not always.
Right. Right. Now you said that a lot of you all have the same kits. So what do you do to change it up? Do you stack your drums? Like stack
Yeah.
kicks on top of
So
kicks?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like I've done that where I've
Mhm.
used, you know, two drums. You know, like I'll take, like I said, I'll take, you know, a piece, you know, I'll take a little, like I'll take a kick from one drum
Mhm.
loop, and I'll take a snare from another drum loop, and then
Mhm.
like I'll just add hi hats, you know what I'm saying, from
Right.
the kit. So sometimes it just work out like that, you know, and then again, it's really just by ear. So you know, I'll just listen to it. If it sounds good to me, I'm like, that's it, it's a go. You know, I don't really there are some, like, you know, there are when like beat, like for example, like Beat Butcher and shit, like his drum loops is crazy. So like, you know, I've used those, you know what I mean? A lot of people use those, man. So like I've used them just because I'm like, yo, you know what? If you already got something that you could start off with, you know what I'm saying? And then you can flip that, you know, like I'll take a beat butcher drum and then I'll just chop that up,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying, to sequence it to, you know, how I like it to sound. And then I'll just add the sample and then just anything else I want to add to it, like bass or whatever,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying, I'll add that, you know, that sound, that element to it.
Right.
But,
All right.
yeah, a
So
lot of the time. Yep, not my bad. Go ahead.
yeah. So when you sit down to make a beat, when it comes to your BPMs, do you preset the BPM? Do you sit here and say, okay, I want this beat to be 85 BPMs? I mean, or
Nah, I don't preset.
Mhm.
So what I do is when I after I chop the sample,
Mhm.
um, normally when as I'm chopping it, you know what I'm saying, I have to like it kind of sets a tempo for me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I'll always start with 80. That's like my default. You know what I'm saying? So I start with 80 BPM. That's just because like that's you know that's my
Your sweet
that's
spot.
yeah, that's my sweet spot for me. You know what I mean? So like I start with 80, and I just tweak it from there. So like, you know,
Mhm.
as I'm pitching shit, you know what I mean, I gotta tweak the tempo. You know what I'm saying? Um, you know, so I'll tweak the tempo up, but you know,
Mhm.
the highest I go, man, to be honest, is really like 91,
90,
92.
91,
Yeah, like
92.
91, 92 is the highest I've gone.
Yeah.
And then the lowest I go is like 68, 60 to 66. That's the,
Right, right, right.
you know, anywhere below that is kind of like, you know, really slow, down tempo, jazz music type shit, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right.
Yeah.
So also when it comes to like making the beat, your sequence, do you start with a 2-bar, 4-bar, 8-bar, 16-bar loop?
So I start with 4 bar, you know.
Mhm.
When I'm chopping it, I start with a 2 bar, you know what I mean? Like when I make my chops, I chop in them 2 bars. But then when I sequence everything out, I sequence it in 4 bars.
So
Um,
so hold on, hold on. So when you're chopping the sample, each chop is 2 bars?
yeah, pretty much
Okay.
between 2 to 4 bars.
Each chop. So these are longer chops. They're not small chops, they're longer chops.
Yeah, facts.
Am I saying that correctly? So when you're chopping up a sample, each chop is like 2 bars or maybe 4 bars. Correct?
Pretty much, yeah. So
Okay.
so like a track sequence for me, like a full eye. So like a full track sequence for me would be. Now let me correct myself. Full track sequence for me would be like an 8 bar.
8 bars.
But when yeah, so like when I'm chopped, because you know, so I'll do like 8 bars and then I'll switch up. Like I'll usually switch up the sample. Like I'll add, you know, I like to have a breakdown or, you know, switch up. I don't like to
Mhm.
keep the same sample running through, you know, for like 16 bars. I think that's kind of crazy. You know, unless the sample is just ridiculous and whatever, you know. I've seen
Right.
people just leave it, just one sample throughout the whole beat. Um, but normally I like to do it in 8 bar sequence. And
Mhm.
then, but you know, when I'm chopping up, sometimes, you know, it depends. I mean, it could be 1 bar, 2 bar, 4 bar, you know, really, you know, but yeah, it's, you know, it, it's really, that's the usually eight bar sequence.
8-bar
You know,
sequence is cool.
1 to 4 bar
Cool. Yeah.
chops.
And how many sequences are in your beat? Because I know, do you link sequences together?
Yeah, so it depends. I'll have, so I mean, I'll have like, you know, anywhere from 4 to like 8 track sequences. You know, really depends. I mean, 4 is really, really low end. So I mean, I would say maybe like 6 to 10, if anything.
Mhm.
And then, you know, I usually like to make my beats like at least 4.5 to 6 minutes, just so that way, you know what I'm saying, the MC can have, you know, when he wants to rhyme on it, or you know, if they playing it on their phone now, to keep freaking hitting rewind, or you know,
Right,
for me to
right,
start
right.
over and over again. They got 6 minutes
You
to
got 6 minutes
write
to get busy.
bars.
Right.
Yeah,
If they
you don't
can't
have to
work with
use the
that, I
whole
don't know what
six
to tell
minutes.
them.
Yeah, I mean, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're not gonna use the whole 6 minutes, but I mean, you know, at least you have 6 minutes to write to. As I always think, you know, when I'm producing, I always think on the MC, you know, standpoint, because
Right.
like I said, I'm an MC first, so that's another thing too. When I'm producing, I want to, you know, I even like rhyme to my shit, like I'll little freestyle. If I can't rhyme to it, I don't even bother with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll scrap it. So like I try to definitely make sure I can rhyme to it. That's where the tempo thing comes in for me.
Right.
So again, it's really all ear. You know what I'm saying? Like I you know, yeah, a lot of the times the tempo is there. You know, 82 BPMs, but whatever the BPMs is gonna be there. That's always gonna be set. and you know, I always use a metronome, so I make sure, you know, that that's very important when you're producing. That I've been, you know, informed and told, like, yo, metronome is important, because that like, if you're using your ear, then that's what, you know what I'm saying, that's gonna keep you on point with it.
Right,
So
right. So how do you know when a beat is done? How do you know that you're not overproducing a beat or underproducing a beat? How do you know when it's just right?
I mean, I'll be honest, sometimes that's hard because you almost feel like you're never done with a beat, man. Like
Mhm.
you always feel like you can add something to it, or you feel like you can tweak it, or you can, like, you know, but there's times where, you know, yeah, like I if I'm spending too much time on it, and it really sounds good to me, I'm done with it, man. I'm done. You know,
Right.
I'm not, you know, I try not to overthink it too much, you know.
Mhm.
And this is stuff that I'm learning, you know what I mean? Because again, I'm new to this. So I'm learning this. And as I go, because you know, when I started, yeah, I used to spend mad time really trying to, like, yo,
Mhm.
I gotta make it, like, you know, perfect, and this, and you know, and now it's not. Now I'm more, a little bit more carefree with it. Now I'm more like just rebellious with it. I'm just like, yo, this shit sound good. I can rap to this shit, yo. And then my dudes be like, yo, that's fire, yo. Send it through. I'm gonna write to it, you know. So that's kind of just been the process, man. It's just really been like, yo, we kind of just been more carefree with it. Obviously being mindful of, you know, of everybody else, because and I say this because, you know what I'm saying, you know, everybody, like I say, you know, everybody got they process. And I know how producers are very, I've run into producers where they just like, you know, like, I tell them my process, they be hating. They're like, nah, nigga, like, that's not, you're not a real producer. And I, you know, I might agree with you, bro. Might not be a real producer, but you know, at the end of the day, I think it's all about, you know, it's not about, you know, how you make music, man. It's just, if you
The
make music,
result.
you make the music. Yeah, the results, man. And you know, I remember when I first started, man. Like I said, we had a little 4-track recorder and a dummy
Mhm.
microphone, so it was like, you
Right,
know, and we were still, you know, pulling out bangers. So I don't
right,
think it
right,
really,
right,
you
right.
know, yeah.
Right. True indeed, true indeed. So do you think you're more known from MCing or beat making? What's giving you more recognition right now?
I think really the production,
Hmm.
just because I really, just because of the consistency with that in the last couple of years. Obviously, you know, the rhyming has always been there, and I think people know I rhyme because my first project, Birds of Prey, I mean, you know, I produced it and I was rhyming on it, and that's kind of what gave me the little buzz. You know what I'm saying? That I feel like people kind of really started noticing me from that project, and then
Right,
and just a couple of dope features that I've production wise that I got. You
right,
know,
right.
Husk Kingpin really, you know, Husk Kingpin, man, ill dude, man, mad love for dude. He looked out and was like, yo, you know, he gave me some production credits, so that was dope. You know, I got some work with Slain, just, you know, through my boy Enels, man, that was love.
Snotty.
Yup, Snotty De Niro, that's the homie right there. The whole umbrella, you know, whole umbrella camp, those are the homies.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, production credit with Rusty Jux, you know,
Hmm.
so
I saw that.
and that's through King V again, you know. So I think that you know, it's really it's all about doing your due diligence and networking, man, and just really
Mhm.
being humble and just being professional. You know, no
Right,
shady
right,
business, being professional with it, and just, you know, showing that you really love this shit, man.
right.
You know, if
So
you love it, it's gonna come
it's
through, and
going to
people are
show,
gonna
right?
gravitate to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna show.
So when you give beats to these artists, are you giving them 2 tracks or you giving them stems?
So no, I give them the stems. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And I do, you know, I sell my beats, man. Like, you know, I do give away some beats, you know, to like artists that I'm working with, but for the most part, man, I sell my joints just because, you know, it's time that I'm, you know, time is money for me. You know, I'm a businessman,
Mhm.
so time is money for me. Um, you know, I don't, I'm not, you know, I'm not like out here selling beats for $300, nothing like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be blessing cash. You know what I'm saying? $50 or whatever. You know, nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying? So like, my thing is that it's all about, you know, and I give them the beat exclusive. I don't, you know, no, I don't do leases. I give them the track stems. I give them the wave, the MP3, and then I let them do whatever they want. If they want to resell it, I don't care. They do whatever they want with it after that.
Right. So there's no paperwork involved. Just money.
If they
go.
ask, if they ask for it, if they ask for an invoice, I give it to them. You know, a lot
Right.
of cats don't even ask for that. You know, but I
Right.
have
Right.
invoices ready for anybody
Now,
that purchase.
now, when you sell them the beat, do you tell them what the sample that was used? Do you even remember the sample that was used, or you the type that pick
Of
up a
course.
record and go?
Yeah, I always. I mean, that's in the project, so I always have that. But cats don't even really ask that, and if they do ask it, I'll give them the, I'll give them the
Right.
info if they trying to, if they really like out there like and the record blows and they trying to clear the sample, then yeah, obviously I gotta give them the information.
Right. Because a lot of times, when some producers make beats, a lot of times they grabbing stuff and they don't even remember the sample. They just
No, I keep track of all of that.
so you write everything down.
Yeah, well, if I don't write it down, then like I said, it's in the project, so I keep it noted in the project when in the in the project description and
Right.
in the properties and all that. So like I write down the name of the record and the artist,
Right.
the original record.
Right. So like with
Unless
the
it's like
Husky,
unless it's something Asian in a different language that I can't translate.
Right. So with the Hus Kingpin, you did that was it Money, Sex, and Drugs, right?
Yeah, I did Money, Sex,
Yeah, that
Drugs,
was crazy. That was crazy. I love that record right there. That was crazy, man.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
So that record that was through. So it was crazy because my boy, my partner in crime, man, my boy Mo Ruckus, I had posted the beat, you know what I'm saying, and like I always do that. I just like I make a little clip and I post it. So I posted it and he tagged Hush, and Hush hit me right away. It was like, yo, I need that, and I was like, I got you. I got
Right. So you just gave him that beat on the arm?
Yeah, I gave it to him on the arm because again, that just makes sense. You know what I mean?
Right.
He could go to any producer and get beats. You know what I'm saying? It's like and I've even paid for beats. It's no cap. I've even paid for beats, man. So like, I think the most I paid for a beat was like $250. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's just because I like I said, I love this shit and I respect people, their business and and I just respect like that, So sometimes it's needed just to break the ice, But with Huss, that was I felt like that was needed, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he for one extended his reputation to me, you know what I'm saying? So like,
right.
I'm like, that's love. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's got a crazy buzz and he's a dope poet, man. So like, I'm like, yeah, facts. I already know he's gonna do something ill to this. You know what I mean? So
right.
and I've been a fan, so I'm like, all right, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I didn't know he was gonna throw.
Shout out Mo Ruckus for the alley-oop.
Yeah, Mo Ruckus with the ill alley. He threw the straight.
Yo, that was an ill alley-oop.
The straight Jason Williams alley on that.
Yeah, so, that was an ill alley-oop right there.
Yeah, that was ill. So, and I didn't know that Huss was gonna throw Mussolini on it. So I actually found out about that after the record was already out. I was like, yo, that shit is fire.
So let me ask a question. So when that happens, does that help you now get do music with like Mussolini, and does that help now? Like,
I mean,
because technically you work with him.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to say that it helps out because it's not like I'm not one to like be like, yo, I'm thirsty, yo, let me work with you, I'm not like that, if he reaches out and like, yo, man, like I need a Hanzo beat, I'm like, I got you, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm like, I'm like that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not really trying to like work too much with everybody just because one, I have my own team and we got our own thing going on.
Right.
And we're not trying to like just be riding other people's waves and shit like
that. Right.
People got their own thing going on, but at the same time, I'm down to network and collaborate for a fact.
Right.
We got like I said, Umbrella, they people. So like, Mo Ruckus has been collaborating with them. I got production credit with Snotty, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I heard that joint. That was fire too. I like that.
Yeah, so and that's Mo Ruckus is on that, and again, that's just Mo Ruckus and Snotty were just chopping it up, chilling, and they were having a session, and Ruck was like, "Yo, I'm here with Snotty, man. Send me some beats," and so I sent him a pack, and that's one of the joints they picked.
So what a pack? How many beats is in a pack for you? Because I hear all these people like a pack.
Yeah, now that shit depends. Normally my man, so if it's like my peoples, I'm sending them probably like 10 beats. or
Okay.
more. Like I remember I sent like a pack with like 50 beats to.
That's a value pack, like a
Yeah, yeah.
that's
That
a
was a
value
straight
pack.
value. That was a premiere pack. Also, I sent that to Ruck, because he had just came home.
Right.
He had just came home from doing a bed, and he was like fresh out. He was like, "Yo, I need work.
Mhm.
Send me a pack." And I'm like, "Yo, I'm gonna send you the most incredible pack ever, just because I've been,
Now, did he use all 50
stacking beats, man."
beats?
What's up?
Did he use all
If he
50 of
used
them?
them all? Nah. I don't think. Nah, he didn't use them all.
So
But
when
he
he
used a good
doesn't
portion.
use all of them, right? What
Yeah, I
happens?
pull
Does
them
he
back.
give them back or you recycle
Yeah,
them?
I pull them back, and I mean, there's a lot of beats that are still, I don't sell every beat, so I have like hundreds of beats where I don't, they're just chilling. You know what I'm saying? But he has used a lot of the beats. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
like if I send a beat pack. Matter of fact, another dope production credit is Spit Gems. You know what I'm saying? So like, I sent him a couple of joints. And again, he chose what he wanted to choose. So like. And then and then the ones that he didn't choose, I pulled those back. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? The same thing with
So
like Dan.
would
Like
you
Danny
say to
shit. I
get
sent
your
him those.
name out there, you would have to give beats to like those type of people like Spit Gems, Husk Kingpin, that helps?
Well, I mean, I don't want to give too many gems out, but yeah, I mean that's the beast. That's smart business, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's like
It makes sense.
just makes sense. Think of it like this. You're not, Am or Royce and none of these dudes, they're not gonna work with you unless you're in a tax bracket, right? You know what I'm saying? Like unless you were on that level, right? So to get to that level, you gotta kind of start from somewhere. You gotta really kind of rub shoulders with the people that you want to rub shoulders with, right? You
Right.
want to be successful, you gotta be around successful people. You
Mhm.
want to be a dope producer, you really want to start really, either studying other dope producers and not mimic them, but just really, like how you study other MCs and develop your own craft.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just it's really it's all education and
Right.
and at the same time, it's business.
Right. Absolutely. So
So what you
those production credits, working with Husk Kingpin, who had Mussolini featured on it, working with
yeah,
Mo Ruckus, who had Snotty featured
yeah.
on it, Spit Gems. Those production credits help you get paid work, correct?
Yeah, I mean they definitely that's like a resume, man. So it's like
Right.
building your resume. And if you got a let's just say you got a resume and if the people see that you work, at a let's like you work for like I don't know, a big high end corporate like company or something like that, they're gonna take you a little bit more serious,
Right. Gotcha.
So it's the
Gotcha.
same deal,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I've I'm not biased. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's many MCs that don't have to be on the top level, but they're nice too. And I work
Right.
with them. But if you really want to get your name out there like that, man, yeah, you really got to work with top tier MCs that are already out there, really, doing it and have a buzz. It's kind of like a passing the torch kind of thing, in a way.
Right. Now, you got the crew or whatever. Do you ever get accused of keeping all the heat for yourself?
Nah, because I feel like I don't. I think I think we all equally, level playing. I mean, my thing was just that I went so hard a couple years ago. Like I went really crazy with it, and then Birds of Prey really set a tone. Like, you know what I'm saying? It kind of elevated us. So like people, still talk about that project. Even like a couple years later, which is and that's for me that's a huge proud moment. That's one thing that I always said when I was a kid when I wanted to do this, man. I was like, if I don't do anything at all with this, man, at least let me just make a album, a record. And it got distributed, which was really dope. I didn't anticipate that to happen. And that was a blessing, so somebody picked it up, they pressed it, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of really what blew it up in a way. It got
Right.
pressed, and then it was pressed in the UK. And
Right.
so
Gotcha.
you know how Europe, man, hip hop in Europe
They love it.
is it's huge, bro. It's bigger than in the US. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I feel like that's a lot of the buzz, man. A lot of the buzz. I got like a lot of the European buzz and Asian buzz, man. And it's starting to trickle down to here to the US just because of the consistency, man. Just being, being um and also being approachable. Like, people could hit me and I'm not gonna be a dick and not respond. I'll hit them back like, yo, peace, peace. You know what I'm saying? If they get on some corny bull crap, then I block them. It's that simple.
Right, right, right. So is there anything that you hate about the game today? Within our underground. I'm not even talking about the trap. I'm talking about within our genre.
Yeah, no, within the underground. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. There is a few things. I mean, definitely, there's always gonna be good and bad. With everything. In the underground for sure. You know, it's tough to really get a paid gig. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're a name and you bring in, and even if you could bring in people, it's like it's still tough. You know what I'm saying? Like promoters don't really want to pay you like that. And that's not really so much of a complaint because I'm just honored to even have opportunities when they come. So
right.
But I feel like when somebody starts, when somebody's done pay their dues enough, like it's like yo, and you feel like yo, you kind of deserve it. It's like, all right, man, you know what I'm saying? So that's one. And then another thing too is just really the scam. There's a lot of scams. I noticed that a lot of these top tier artists that have been in the game for a long time, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of those scams where like, yo, pay for this slot, and then you'll be on a mixtape with like 500 other people. You know what I'm saying? That's just crazy.
Right.
They got me once. I'm not gonna put the artist out on blast just because I'm a fan. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna put him on blast.
So,
and I know it's probably not the artist. It's probably his camp or his peoples or underlings or whatever like that.
So 2 questions before we get up out of here, right? As a beat maker, who do you want to work with next? Who do you want to produce for next?
Man, honestly, I would love to make a track with Etho, and that's kind of in the works. I'm gonna make that happen. So, Etho, definitely. I don't want to give too much away, but I do have some stuff in the works with Danielson.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, if we're talking like higher level, like, top tier, like, people that I grew up listening to, like probably Nas, Cool G, all them cats, man,
Right. Gotcha.
But I think right now, like current underground rapper, Etho, I'm a huge fan of Etho, just because I really resonate with his style and the context of his words, man. It's just, I grew up really harsh, so for me, that just his words really resonate with me.
Right. Now, next question. Beat makers, who are you feeling currently now that's out?
Man, there's a lot. So I'm a fan of Saipuda, Heretic. I'm a fan of Johnny Slash, obviously, working with him. Stu Bangers, his that joint Sun Kiss was incredible.
Crazy.
One of the best beats I've heard in a minute. I was mad when I heard that. I was like, damn, I wish I would have found a jump like that.
Right.
That was an incredible beat. I mean, there's so many, I'm Derringer.
Derringer's ill.
Derringer's ill, Nicholas Craven is dope.
Ill. What about Clipto? You heard of Clipto?
Yeah, I heard of Clipto. Clipto's
ill.
Dope, he's ill. Man, I could go on and on, man. So many dope producers, man. My boy Pretty Ugly, he's a dope producer too.
Spanish Ren.
Yeah, Spanish Ren is ill. Actually, yeah, man. Spanish Ren is real dope with it, man. He's real dope with it. I'm a fan of DJ Muggs. Like, he's crazy with it. Alchemist, all these guys.
Conductor Williams.
Yeah, Conductor Williams. There's just so many. Apollo Brown. We could
Camouflage Monk.
Camouflage Monk. You know what I'm saying?
So many. There's so many. The list can go. We could sit here and name.
Yeah. This could be a whole podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Right. All day.
I mean, but right now, like I would say, I'm gonna give you my top 3 right now. And of current producers, not old school producers.
Yeah. So I'm saying current.
I'm gonna say Stu Bangers, definitely. You know what I'm saying? Saipuda.
Okay.
And man, it's a toss up between Nicholas Craven and Giallo Point. I ain't even gonna front. And Vic Grimes, like I'm a fan of Vic Grimes too.
Vic Grimes is ill.
Yeah, I really fuck with Vic Grimes. So it's like I guess it's 5.
That's your
Those are
top
top
5
5
right
right there.
now.
That's
No
my top
doubt,
5.
no doubt.
Yeah.
Listen, Hanzo Bladez, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to
Man, I
chop it up
appreciate
with
you,
me.
man.
You know
Appreciate
what I
you.
mean?
You already know.
Like I said, I do this for the beat makers. I know you're MCing, but I'm doing it for the beat maker half of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, appreciate
beat
that.
maker
Appreciate it.
side.
Anytime. You
You
already
know,
know.
the
And you know, like I said, man, and this is for any, you know, I want to leave this where, you know, just this note where everybody, man, like, it don't matter, you know what I'm saying, how technical you are with this or how much you know how to produce or you went to college for this or whatever. Like, if you really, really love this, man, and you passionate about it, yo, you figure out your way. You know what I'm saying? And you do it for you and you do it how you want to do it. And man, and all the naysayers and the hate, whatever, man, it's whatever. You know what I'm saying? You love it because, you know, you genuinely doing it how you want to do it and you're okay with that.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it, you know what I'm saying? Because I already know, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I already know that, you know, like I said, it's just one of those things where it could be where people will catch flack for, like, he's not really doing it the way he's supposed to be doing it. But it's like, yo, can you really say that to an MC? Like, unless somebody ghostwriting for him, you know what I'm saying? That's different, you know what I mean? But like, you know, you can't. So I feel like, you know, yeah, that's just one thing for me. I feel like that's very important, man, to put out there for people that, you know, they might be, you know, scared to try it. They're not, you know, they don't know how to do it or whatever. Nowadays, YouTube could teach you everything, man. So
that's what's up. That's what's up. Words of wisdom from Hanzo Bladez. Once again, my brother, thank you so much for being on Strictly for My Diggers, premiered in August. All right?
All right, man. Appreciate you, man. Salute, fam.
Salute. Peace.
I'm gonna tell you now, I ain't no holy individual, but I am